Reacher star rips Marvel movies over regurgitating comic book stories. The Reacher star noted in an interview with GQ that he tends to sit back and yawn at the current crop of Marvel movies. He's one of many to criticize the popular and long-lasting Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is currently at a bit of a crossroads. Despite this, he's seemingly more than willing to return to the superhero adaptation genre for one character in particular. In an interview with GQ, Richardson commented upon his life, his career as an actor, and upcoming ventures. He also spoke about his upcoming role in the Guy Ritchie movie, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. There, he plays Anders Lassen, a real-life Danish soldier who fought during World War II. Beyond this movie, however, he also noted his mission to bring new stories to the big screen. Part of this drive for this goal is his current disappointment with the homogeneity in Hollywood, namely when it comes to movies by Marvel Studios. These comments are ironic given that Alan Ritchson once auditioned for the role of Thor, which went to Chris Hemsworth. Currently, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is not nearly as popular as it once was, with many noting that the quality of the shared universe's movies has gone down. Criticisms over the so-called Marvel formula have also been present for years, namely from filmmakers such as Martin Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola. Currently, Marvel Studios is taking a notable break from theatrical releases, with the upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine being the only movie from the studio in 2024. Alan Ritchson wants to play the DCU Batman, despite his issues with how formulaic the Marvel Cinematic Universe has become. Alan Ritchson is no stranger to superheroes. He played the young Arthur Curry/Aquaman on the TV series Smallville, which followed a youthful Clark Kent before he became Superman. Likewise, he was also the superhero Hawk on the Titans TV series. Fans and Ritchson himself have expressed interest in the actor portraying Batman/Bruce Wayne in the upcoming cinematic DC Universe reboot. This shared universe will replace the former DC Extended Universe, which ended in 2023 with the release of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. The Brave and the Bold will be the DCU Batman movie, with the film and the universe as a whole separate from Matt Reeves' The Batman series starring Robert Pattinson. Currently, there are no casting decisions announced for The Brave and the Bold, which will follow both Batman and his son Damian Wayne/Robin. Though the film also does not have a release date, the Flash director Andy Muschietti is still attached to helm the movie. In a candid and eye-opening interview, Reacher star Alan Ritchson didn't hold back when he took aim at Marvel Studios, criticizing the superhero giant for what he calls regurgitating comic book stories in its films. While Marvel continues to churn out blockbuster after blockbuster, Ritchson has voiced what many critics and audiences have whispered under their breath. Is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, running out of original ideas? Ritchson's comments came during the press tour for the upcoming season of Reacher, a series that has quickly garnered a devoted fanbase due to its gritty tone, compelling narrative, and the sheer physicality Ritchson brings to the role. As the embodiment of Jack Reacher, a former military policeman turned drifter who fights corruption and injustice, Ritchson is no stranger to high-octane action and larger-than-life characters. Yet, even from his vantage point, the actor sees something troubling about the current state of superhero cinema, particularly where Marvel is concerned. I feel like Marvel is caught in this cycle where they're not creating anything new, Ritchson stated. They're just rehashing old comic book arcs and putting them on the big screen. It's fun, sure. I love a good action sequence as much as the next guy. But where is the innovation? Where is the challenge in storytelling? The actor's sharp critique reflects a growing sentiment among some viewers that Marvel, despite its commercial success, has sacrificed creativity for consistency. With nearly 40 films and numerous Disney Plus series produced since 2008, the MCU has undoubtedly become a cultural juggernaut. However, Ritchson's argument cuts deep, questioning whether the franchise is prioritizing familiar stories over pushing the boundaries of what superhero films can be. Comic book source material, a strength or a crutch? One of Ritchson's central complaints is Marvel's reliance on existing comic book material as the backbone of its cinematic stories. From Iron Man to Avengers Endgame, many of Marvel's most beloved films are adaptations of popular comic arcs, with characters, plotlines, and even some dialogue lifted straight from the pages of decades-old comic books. While this approach has certainly struck a chord with die-hard comic fans, it also raises the question of whether Marvel's creative well has begun to run dry. Look, I get that there's a fan base for these stories. People love the comics, and I respect that, Richardson said. But for me, if I'm going to invest in a movie, I want to be surprised. I don't want to feel like I've seen it all before, just in a different format. Richardson's frustration with Marvel's apparent lack of originality is understandable. While superhero movies were once a relatively rare occurrence, the genre has exploded in popularity over the last decade. Marvel has been at the forefront of this boom, and their films are known for their interconnected storylines, crowd-pleasing humor, and larger-than-life action sequences. However, this success has also bred a certain formulaic approach to filmmaking, one that relies heavily on pre-existing stories rather than bold new ideas. Some film critics argue that Marvel's adaptations, while faithful, often fall short of transcending their source material. As Richardson noted, many fans already know how these stories are going to end because they've read them in comic books years ago. In an era where streaming platforms and other film genres are constantly innovating, this predictability can feel like a missed opportunity. The superhero fatigue debate, Richardson's critique, also touches on a broader conversation that has emerged in recent years: superhero fatigue. With a never-ending slate of superhero films, TV shows, and spin-offs, some moviegoers are beginning to feel overwhelmed by the sheer volume of content. Even die-hard Marvel fans are starting to question how much longer the MCU can keep growing without losing its edge. I think audiences are getting tired, Richardson explained. We've had over a decade of these movies, and it's starting to feel like the same thing over and over again. There's nothing wrong with a superhero film here and there, but we're being bombarded with them. While the box office numbers don't necessarily support the idea of widespread fatigue, Marvel movies consistently dominate global ticket sales. There is an undeniable shift in the cultural conversation. What was once fresh and exciting is now, to some, becoming routine. The superhero film, which once defied convention and reinvented action movies, has settled into a safe and familiar formula. Reaching for something different for Richardson, the success of Reacher represents a counterpoint to the superhero formula. Based on the best-selling novels by Lee Child, Reacher is rooted in the gritty world of crime thrillers, where the stakes are grounded in reality rather than cosmic battles. The show thrives on tension, mystery, and the physicality of its protagonist, rather than relying on superpowers and CGI spectacle. Reacher is something that feels real to me, Richardson said. It's not about saving the world from some alien threat, it's about solving problems in a way that's raw and gritty. That's the kind of storytelling that excites me. Indeed, shows like Reacher and films that fall outside the superhero genre have started to attract viewers who crave more nuanced narratives. While the superhero genre certainly has its place in modern cinema, Richardson's comments suggest that there is also room and a growing hunger for stories that push the envelope in new and unexpected ways. Can Marvel adapt? The future of the MCU remains bright, but Richardson's critique raises valid questions about how long the franchise can sustain itself by mining decades-old comic book stories. As superhero fatigue becomes more of a reality and viewers seek out fresh content, Marvel may need to shift its approach and take more risks in its storytelling. Richardson's comments don't seem to come from a place of disdain, but from a desire to